Hi everybody, my name's Harry. The reason why they call me Harry is, you know how you got the big guy like in construction, everybody calls him Tiny? Well, I don't have any hair, so I got the nickname Harry. Today, I'm just going to be here and there in the video, but my friend, they call him Wolfie, he's going to be taking apart that carburetor right there. This is on a Super M. This tractor ain't been running for a while, so we're going to take carburetor apart and clean it and get this running again. Hope you enjoyed the video. Alright, today we're going to take this carburetor off, probably just pull the bowl, clean up in here and the needle, make sure everything is not gummed up. So I'm sure it is. That's probably why I didn't get gas. But we're just going to take some of these parts off here and get this carburetor off. See if I can get these loose. Can I have my boy? This is his tractor. He wants to do this. He wants to do this screw, so I'll let him do it. It's always good for him to get his hands dirty. This is my little boy, Wyatt. It's his tractor. He actually bought this. This, believe it or not, is the third tractor he's bought, and he actually owns 4 tractors. But this is one of the 3 that he actually bought himself. I just squirt a little PB blaster on there to try to make it a little easier to get these nuts and bolts loose. This one back here might be a little bit of a booger to get to. Might have to actually get me a little bit smaller wrench. What I mean by smaller, it's going to be a 9/16, but this one, I might get one that's cut down a little bit so I can get back in here a little bit easier. Might be what I have to do. Alright, my little boy here, he wants to get in there and get hands on, so I'm going to let him.
I need you to let it drop down, just keep your hand under it. Oh, well.
There we go. Carburetor's off. Now we'll take the bowl off. Hi, Harry again. We're going to use that bowl right there. Put the carburetor in it. That way if it's got any old nasty gas in it, it won't go all over this bed here. So we're just using the bed of the side-by-side as a work table. So we're going to go from here and see what we can figure out. Probably what we're going to do is take the bowl out, take it off, clean it out, probably clean out some of the jets, spray it with carburetor cleaner. I got a torch tip cleaner. We're gonna run that through there, get all the gunk out, probably blow compressed air in it. What we usually do on these M's, on these carburetors, is on the bowl gasket over there, we'll try to hit it with a rubber mallet and get it broke loose if we can. Hopefully save the gasket. If not, we usually just use cereal box for another gasket. Works pretty good, so we'll go from there and see what we're looking at. Just taking off the bolts here for the bowl. This I might end up taking that off. It might try to give me a little bit of trouble if I don't. Which I had this off the other day, so it should come off pretty easy again. We'll see. Screen's nice and clean. That's good, which I knew that from the other day. The other day I tried to get this tractor running. I just put an umbilical tank on it and just tried it with this carburetor without doing anything to it. Thought maybe I might get lucky, and it needs clean, which I can smell the gas. It smells terrible. But what I ended up doing, this tractor's new to us, so just to make sure that it would run, I was starting it and I sprayed carb cleaner in this part just to see that it would run, and it did. So also cranking it and choking it, I could tell no gas was getting down into the bowl. So either the float stuck up or the needle's just sticking, gummed up. Either way, I knew I was going to have to take the bowl off, so here we are. I'm afraid we're going to end up ruining our gasket. I can tell it's pretty tight. Yep, we're going to have to make a new gasket. I'm going to go get my putty knife and see if I can save as much of it as I can. That way I can use it for a pattern. Even though this gasket is it's kind of pulled apart, I'm going to see if I can carefully, which I say carefully, I might not be able to get it done, go around it just so I'll have a pattern. You can see how bad, nasty that looks. I can see here, I don't know if you can see it on camera or not, but you can see the needle is not dropping down. So, definitely gonna have to clean that. All right. This little rod that holds the float, I found this tool to be handy. It's one of those tools that you push down on and it clicks. It's for making a center punch hole for when you're wanting to drill, but usually works real good for getting these out. Which, trying to decide which way I need to go here. You can see it's moved it already. And have to go get a pair of pliers. Trying to be kind of gentle when I'm pulling on this because I don't want to mar it up. But you know how that goes. You can tell it has been a long time since this has been apart. Oh my gosh. There, finally. See that needle is not sliding out, which I already knew that. I just wanted to show it to you. You can see how, hopefully you can see how gummed up that is. This is what I'll use. See if I can carefully poke that needle out. Here it comes. Sure you can see, hopefully, all the varnish. Got my old carburetor cleaner. I'll just spray it all out really good. If I have to, I've got some red Scotch-Brite on this float. I'll clean it up a little. I'll use my torch tips, rod this out, all these passages. Okay, these torch tip cleaners, you can see I run that through there, try to clean it out. I'll spray it with carb cleaner, and I'll do this again. Try to just do one at a time. Sometimes you have to start out with the smallest one and work your way up. It just depends on what kind of carburetor you have. Some of these passages are tiny, tiny, tiny. And then on this one, I put your straw on, spray it. I spray in all the holes, everywhere there's a passage. Let it soak a little, and then sometimes, you know, you just gotta use these tips. Like these bigger areas, you can use a couple of them and move it around. And if I have to, I'll take these screws out and I'll use the torch tips in those too as well. But you kind of get the idea. These carburetors are very, very simple. So I usually don't have too much problem. The hardest problem I'll have is trying to get this gasket to be exact, but I've done it many times. It's tedious work. I usually use like a razor knife or X-Acto knife and trace it out. And I think I do have a new carburetor gasket, but I don't want to use it for this carburetor, but I'll use it for a pattern. And it's like I said, I've also got gasket material, but what I was going to say is I usually use a cereal box, and they make the perfect gaskets. Okay, I use my carb cleaner. Use some Scotch-Brite here. But anyway, I was going to show you. That moves up and down like it's supposed to. That allows the gas to come in, fill up the bowl. Okay, this one, I just use that tube, clean that out. Or not the tube, but the cleaner. Same with this. Spray carb cleaner in it. I think this is called the emulsion tube. I got that out. I'll use my rods in the side of it. Down through it. I'll use carb cleaner and I'll clean it with air. I went on ahead, took this out, and that adjustment screw. I'm gonna clean out down in here. I just took a little Scotch-Brite, shined it up. Also, I don't remember if I showed you, I put the rods down through here. Shot carburetor cleaner through there. And I'll continue on the rest of the passages that I see. We're going to show you this to get this gasket off. I'm just using a little razor blade scraper. And went through all the passages earlier, like I said. My carburetor cleaner. And I used compressed air. Shot that through the passages. This bowl here, we sprayed carb cleaner in it. My son cleaned it up with red Scotch-Brite. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the needle back in, put the float back on. See if I can lightly tap that in. There we go. Alrighty.
Hi. Okay, now that we got the carburetor all cleaned up, we got the old gasket off of the bowl. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna make another gasket. And here's what we're gonna do. We're either gonna use that ballpoint pen or the Sharpie, whichever's got the finer point. And we're just gonna trace that gasket. That's a new gasket out of a carburetor kit. But I want to save that kit for another tractor. And this one, all we're doing, we weren't rebuilding the carburetor on this one. We're just cleaning the carburetor just so we can get it running. But we're gonna trace that gasket there. And then probably use a utility knife to cut it out. And possibly the holes there, we might just put that cardboard, this old cereal box, we might just lay that on top of an old scrap piece of wood and use a drill bit, just drill through it. That way we make our circle, our hole, nice and pretty looking.
Okay, we're just gonna trace this gasket out like so. That's what's nice about having a new gasket. Otherwise, if I wanted to make a gasket and I didn't have this one to trace around, I would just put this piece of cardboard, I would place it over the carburetor bowl or the carburetor itself, and I would just tap around. Might have got that off just a little bit. I would just lightly tap around it, or I would just put some grease on the carburetor or the bowl and just lay this cardboard on top of it, and the grease would make an outline of the gasket. Got my scrap piece of wood that I'm going to put this over. so I don't cut into my counter. And I don't know if I'll video all this or not, but you can see this is just how I'm gonna do the gist of it. And since I'll probably have to get down like this, I'm probably not going to record it all, but this will give you an idea how I'm doing it. Here's a little bit of the progress so far. Here's some more progress. Here's the finished product of that gasket. I've got it set on there. I'm going to put both ends back together, and then probably the next one I'll show mounting it back on the tractor. Well, we got the carburetor all back on, as you can see. Now the moment of truth. We got an umbilical tank on it, because we got to clean out the main tank, but that tank right there will work. Just got it hanging. We just need something to make sure it's going to run. So we're going to try it, give it a crank, see if she fires up. In case the needle's sticking a little. Sometimes I do that. There we go. We're running in. I sure hope you enjoyed this video. I hope maybe I was able to show you a little something, you know. Maybe you can use this on any of your tractors. Hope I showed you good enough, maybe to give you the basics, how to just put a carburetor back together, make it work. And if nothing else, I hope maybe this video just made you smile, made you laugh. Hope it just made your day a little better. I just wanted to say thanks for watching. Hope you watch some more of my videos.